Welcome back to the Stable Machinist. Today we're getting on with part 3 of our welding table build video. So in our previous parts, which I'll leave a link up the top here if you haven't watched them already, we built our fixture, we welded up our frame, and now we're getting on to the build up of everything, which is drilling our holes in our table so that we can use it to help fixture, help align things, help hold things. It can be very useful in the long term. So what we're going to do today is we're going to line up our machine to the plate that's on the table. So we're going to set our first hole. So we're going to call them the master holes, which is every time we start a new plate, we're going to have to put the master holes in. So we'll use our wobble bar like we did in the last video to set our X and Y. We'll then move over to our center drill, put 2 centers on, make sure we're in the right spot. We're going to use a vernier just to check that we're close. And what we'll then do is we'll then drill the holes, and from that we'll be able to shuffle along the plate each time with the holes with the correct spacing, which is going to be a key part to this video. Now, we're going to use the DRO quite a lot in this video. So what we've done is we're going to be utilizing something called actual and incremental movements, okay? So what that means is, if you guys can see, can you see? I'll bring you a bit closer. So what that means is, if I just do this, it should lock on. What that means is, on here, this is where we are from our 0 point, which is this dowel pin here, okay, in our incremental movement. And we are actually set up from our wobble bar that we done earlier in our X and Y position is correct to this. So once we're done and we've drilled our master holes and we put them back, our 0, 0 will be here. So from there we can then move 25mm backwards and then make our second holes from here. This is again, this is our master. We clock this all in, we make sure this is correct, and then the rest of the job should fall in line. So as you guys can see, we're minus 25 in our X and minus 25 in our Y. So what that means is we are 25mm back from here and we are 25mm out from our center. The bar's 100mm wide, 50mm is our center, 25 and 25. So we're going to go from from positive to negative. So what I'll now do is I'll just set the speed, make sure the speed's right. And what we'll do is do our quick check. And if the check goes all okay, then we will drill our first holes. So, as you can see, we've put our centers in, or our spots I should say. And what we're going to do is just with a vernier, just very roughly, just to make sure we're sort of in the right place. And we're going to eye it up with the middle. Just about, that's too far, there. So, it's saying we're about 25.1, but again, this is just rough. So we're only roughing it, and here, we're about 24.8. Again, it's rough. We're going to just go with it because we've set everything up and we should be in the right spot. Again, 25.12 and about the same on the other side. So I'm happy drilling them. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish off this center drill. Again, we want our drills to have the easiest time going straight down. That's why we're doing this. We're then going to move on to our pre-drill. So we're going to have three pilot drills going. We're going to start off with a 6.5mm. We're then going to move on to a 10mm. We're going to then go on to our 12mm and then finally finish with our 16mm. And what that should do is that should leave us with a really nice hole, and there's going to be a lot of holes. So we're doing this to make sure we're going to save as much tool life as possible. So we're going to be using our coolant, making sure that our tool's not getting too hot, we've got the right spindle speed set, and we're going to take our time with it. It is going to be a bit of a long video because I do have 288 holes to drill. So it's going to be a very, very holy video indeed. Sorry, I practiced that joke. It needed to be said. I do apologise. Right, we're going to get on with finishing this off now. So, we are about just over halfway through drilling our first plate. And there's a few things that I want to go over now because there's been a bit of a stop in filming. Not any fault, just I went on holiday, so I've come back and I forgot to say it at the time. So first things first is I changed the spacing on the dowel holes. Instead of being 25mm apart, they're now 50, because when I was looking at it, the 25mm spacing just meant I was going to be basically drilling the whole plate away, which is a bit excessive and a bit not needed. So we've moved it over, so they're now nice 50mm spacing, which I think looks a lot better in person. I think the 25mm, this is, so from here to here to here, that's 25mm spacing, which I think is a bit excessive. So we've kept the M6 holes where they should be because it matches up to the frame that we've done. And I've just been pretty much, this is a course of probably 2 or 3 days, just after work, coming home for an hour or two, drilling these in. I'm going to get a full day on it soon, which means I'll probably get a plate a day. So we've got probably another 3 or 4 days of drilling to get all our plates done. But once our plates are done, we have got everything pretty much ready to go. Now, I'll move you, but effectively, in my small little workshop, this is where we're going to put the frame. So if I take my apron, which I don't use, so I probably should relocate. If I get the frame, so effectively, the air compressor is going to be rehomed. Probably, ideally, I would like it outside and to pipe it in, not because it's noisy, but because it takes up space that isn't necessarily needed. It's only a small tank, so I'll use it for like a minute and it starts compressing more air again. So it would be nice to get it outside It's quite one. It's a Hyundai Super. It's called Super Silent, I think. And it is really quiet compared to my old man's air compressor. So I really like it. And what's going to happen? So basically, I want the frame to sit probably about the same height as my workbench, and we've got the hinges, so it'll fold down and fold up. But I'm worried that the hinges aren't going to be able to support the weight. They're rated up to it, but I think what I'll do is I'll put a cross beam from this middle bar here into the wall in about the centre, or I might do two, one on either side. But what I'll do is I'll weld a plate on with a nut, so that way I can adjust, so that way if it's drooping, we can lift it up and have it sitting flat, which I think is the plan that we're going to have going forward. Also, I've got probably one or two videos that we could do next. So I'm going to leave a poll in the description, and I'm going to let you guys pick what we do next. We could either do making like a movable welding cart for the welder, so we have everything we weld with, welding mask, gloves, our TIG sticks and rods, all on a cart on wheels that we can roll around, and that will slot in here. Or I've made a purchase, and it's definitely a not needed purchase, and it's totally over the top for what I want to do with it. But I have bought a carbon fibre kit from a company called Easy Composites that we can make for that. Well, the plan is to make a go-kart. Basically, I've got a 24-hour karting race coming up, and you do 2 hours in the go-kart at a time, so you get very hot. And anyone that's karted with me or who knows me in general, I'm a very sweaty person. That's too much information, I know, but I want to make a little stand that I put a fan in, and it can push air through to cool the helmet down, dry it out along them. You can buy them. They're very expensive for what it is. It's effectively a fan. I could 3D print the fan stand, but I thought I want to do some carbon fibre stuff in the future. I've never done anything, and this seems like the perfect inroad to do that. So it'll either be carbon fibre helmet stand or a welding, what do I call it? Welding trolley. So I'm going to leave that up to you guys. So please go down to the comments, leave a comment on your opinion on which one to do, or just click the poll and we'll see. And we'll give it a couple of weeks, and then we'll get on with it. Well, after all of that, we finally have our first fully done plate. I'm really actually quite happy with how they've come out. The holes are spot on, and the spacing, I would say probably is within 0.1 on every hole, which sounds like quite big, but it is quite big. But actually, I can put these up now. But it's good enough for what we need. So what we do now, finish this off, get on with the 4 more. So what I'll do now is I'll do one of these fancy transitions I've been learning, and we'll go into a time lapse of me doing the other 4. So we'll see you at the end. So we've got everything set up for our second plate. What we'll do now is we'll take our centres, we'll set our X with 25mm in, drill our first 2, what do I call them? Datum holes, and then move on to drilling the rest of the plate. I'll time lapse it because it'll be long, it'll be boring, and we'll put some music over the time lapse to make it a bit better. So, I just had a bit of an epiphany whilst we were drilling and getting ready that second plate. I have 3 plates left to do. You can't see it, but I'm gonna just move the camera now. So I got 3 plates left to do. If I clamp and weld the ends together, I can get it all done in one hit, as in drilling all the holes for the last 3 plates at the same time. So I think I'm going to do that. Right, so hopefully this doesn't get too bright and we can continue with this. So I'm just covering myself up because I'm not changing out of my shorts now. So we're just going to weld this end up, and then we'll move over and do the other end quickly. Okay. As you can probably tell by the small mountain of swarf that is accumulated, we have indeed drilled most of our holes on the plate. What we're going to do now is we're going to use a hammer, break off our welded bars on, give these a little grind, do any finishing touches. So we've got a few holes that I had to miss out just because of how I chose to weld it. And then we got to put our M6 countersinks in so that way we can mount it to our table. Right, so we are finally back in the workshop. So we've had a few weeks out for various reasons. One of them being me and a group of friends, we went over to France, to Le Mans, and we done a 24-hour kart race in which we come 3rd in class, 9th overall. Done a very, very good job. I'm going to link some pictures and some videos that I took whilst over there, so enjoy that.
Lovely, well done.
But we're now back and we're on the home stretch of the table. So today is the last thing we've got to do is we've got to finish off putting in our countersunk holes so that way we can mount it to the table. Getting the table mounted to the wall and making one last little bracket to hold it all up, and then we should be good to go. So enjoy the last little bit of the video. I know it's been a long one, so thank you again for watching along so far if you have. So, why are you running away?
Sorry, I didn't realise you were on film, and I know you can't talk when I'm here.
I so can.
Okay.
We now have the frame drilled and mounted onto the wall, and I don't know if you guys can see. What I can do is I'll pop this off here. So we are looking not perfect, but pretty good in terms of level now. So, what we now need to fix is if I turn it, just put it on the diagonal, we can see it's sitting on the piss. Now we knew that was going to be an issue. Well, I thought it was going to be an issue anyway. So, what my plan is to do is down here, so the hinges, when they are down, they work fine, we're okay, we're happy with that. So then we just pull the table up and it locks them in place, yeah? And again, pretty darn repeatable in terms of level. So, the only issue we got now is that we've got to droop this, and we've got this droop, which we can see. If we were to put a bar on here, it's going to roll off, which is not what we want. So what we're going to do, we're going to lift it up, so that way the roll doesn't happen. So, how we're going to do that is with this. So, I keep saying so, I apologise. I've cut a square bit of bar in half, and my idea is to have that sort of catched on the bottom either side here, and then we have a corresponding one down low here that's adjustable, and then we'll have another bit of bar that locks into place. So when this is on, this will be here, and it will lock itself in and support and hold it up at that at level. And then that way the weight isn't all just being held here. The weight from here is being forced down into the wall here, so it's making a much more stable surface to then weld off of. So I'm going to cut up some metal bar. We're going to have a play, and then you'll see how it turns out. Right, so to work that out, we're going to use something that when I was in school, I never thought I would ever use, and that is Pythagoras' theorem. So, Pythagoras' theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, yeah? But instead of c, we're going to use h, yeah? So, it's pretty easy because I've got nice numbers to work with. So, a squared plus b squared, so 500 squared plus 500 squared. Where has my calculator gone? 500 squared plus 500 squared equals... I'm sure some people have already worked it out, but I don't claim to be. It's drooping, just like the table. So what we do is we then square root our answer, which equals square root answer. Oh, got it, don't worry. Which is 7. Which is 707 millimeters. So we're going to cut 2 bits of bar at 707 millimeters and see how we get on. Also, if anyone's noticed, we've got Stable Machinist branded shirts. They're a sample at the moment. Might release them later on, you never know. Cool. Right, let's get some cutting done. Look!
Is that 45 degrees?
It doesn't matter what the degrees is, it's the matter that it's level.
I think that matters.
You can go get smaller level. So, as we can see, we've now got our brace welded on fixed to the wall. And again, we're looking pretty good on the bubble level. So I think with the chair in there, that's looking pretty comfortable. If I just quickly slot that here, here and here. Gotta make it, gotta make it, gotta make it. So yeah, I'm at a really nice height to be working at right now. So we just get this other one fixed in place, and we can mount our plates to the table. We've got our table all mounted to the wall now. We've got our brace all cut up and done, and now it is pretty good. You know, that's taken a lot of weight. I'm not a skinny boy, so I'm really happy with that. Right, last thing to do, let's get our plates mounted on our table. We should be good to doing a bit more welding.
Already coming in handy.
Right, that is my welding table build. I know it's been a bit of a long one, so thank you for sticking with. I'm very happy with it overall. You know, everything's solid, nothing's moving, it's nice and level. We've done a little test weld. Everything, I'm happy with the height. My chair's at a nice height. I can stand and also be at a nice height. So yeah, overall very, very happy. Okay then, so moving on to the next project. Hopefully we get to use the welding table, the mill and the lathe a lot more in the next few projects. Hopefully the videos get a bit quicker. I know that there's been a long gap in between each one, but that's just because there's been a lot of holes to drill, and the motivation coming home every day to drill more holes is quite a lot. So, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe or give it a like. It goes a long way into motivating me into making more videos. Yeah, again, thank you for watching.